Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, for Barca's trip to Sevilla. And this one feels like a very important, very big game early on in La Liga because a trip to the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan, it is never ever going to be easy. And of course this will mean that we will have faced Real Sociedad away and also Sevilla within our first 4 games of the season. We're going to be talking about the expected lineup, about what we need to do here to send out another firm statement, and it's just another game where we must step up. It is all coming up for you today, so come on and let's do this. Because of course, as we enter now the month of September, it is time to leave the transfer window behind us. That has been and gone, and now it is time for full focus on the players that we have, on the squad that we've been able to build and put together to achieve the kind of season that we are looking to create. And when you're looking at September starting here with Sevilla away, that's followed up by our very first Champions League game of the season at home against Victoria Pilsen. Then we have a trip to Cadiz before Bayern Munich awaits the following midweek, before Elche at home concludes September, before there is then an international break. But already they are starting to see the fixtures ramping up, plenty of games coming up for us, and we're going to need all of the players at Xavi's disposal to play their part. Because when you are looking here at the La Liga table in its early stages, of course, Real Madrid and Real Betis are the pace setters right now. They have both taken maximum points from the first few games. Barça are following in close behind, as are Villarreal and of course Ernesto Valverde's Athletic Club. But one name and one team that you will not notice there in that top 8, it is our opponents. Because when you look at where Sevilla are in the league right now, they're 15th. They have 1 point from 3 games this season. Now, it's early days, but it's not even as though they've had tough games. They've lost against Almeria, newly promoted Almeria. They've lost against Osasuna, and they only took a point against Real Valladolid. It's been a nightmare start for them. They've lost key players over the summer. And I think all we're hoping is that they don't choose this game to start turning their season around. Because last time we did indeed face Sevilla was back in April at the Camp Nou, and you will remember fondly from that game that it took an absolute wonder goal from Pedri to give us all 3 points. That was the winner and the solitary goal on the night, and that was a goal there that was later named as the La Liga goal of the season. And of course our last trip to the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan, that came there just before the end of last year, and you might remember in that game a certain Jules Kounde found himself on the receiving end of a red card. Jordi Alba received a ball to the face. I'm sure all is being forgiven and there's no hard feelings now, but we have Kounde on our side for this game, and he'll be looking, I'm sure, to keep his emotions in check. But of course, following here the conclusion there of the transfer window, deadline day came and Xavi was able to add 2 new additions to his squad. Hector Bellerin and also Marcos Alonso arriving, both of those coming in on free transfers. Now, Xavi said in his press conference today that Bellerin is a player who grew up here, that understands Barça. He's a great professional, and I think he'll help us a lot. He also spoke there about Marcos Alonso being a versatile player who can also help us on that left-hand side. He said he's very happy with the 2 signings because we simply needed to add depth there in our full-back areas. Xavi said the transfer window was a great one. He did say it could have been perfect, in his opinion, if he added just 1 more player, and I think we all realise the player that he's talking about there is Bernardo Silva. But he said, look, I'm not complaining. The board have done a tremendous job. He paid huge credit there to Mattia Almani. He said we made a spectacular effort to have the best possible squad to compete for all of the titles. Xavi did have as well some nice words for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang today. He said that was the exit really that hurt me. He said I do feel bad about that. I do feel sorry that he had to go because he helped us a lot. You know, he was an extraordinary player there, phenomenal stats that he had. And he said above all else, he was a wonderful person and he was an example to everybody. So really glowing words there from the departing Aubameyang, who, like we said yesterday, leaves with so many great memories, even in such a short space of time here that he had at the club. And I thought it was a really interesting quote actually from Xavi there when he was talking about departures, when he was talking about players who were making that step to leave the club or not. He said this. He said it's not easy to realise when it's time to leave. He said, it happened to me. I've experienced this. He said, I actually had a contract offer from the club to continue when I was 35 years old. But Xavi said, I understood that I had to go. I understood there that I had to leave because I could no longer give my 100%. And that was an interesting there, I think, subtle kind of message from Xavi, looking at the squad that we have, looking at the players, some of them are still here, of course, and Xavi there just highlighting a few of his personal thoughts and experiences. And I would just like to say, guys, before we do move on to the lineup, before we do move on to the potential team that we're going to see, on a separate issue here, I'd just like to talk about UEFA, because they have launched actually an investigation into all of its clubs there to understand who is complying and who is being complicit with the financial fair play regulations that they have. And let's be clear here, right throughout the summer when Barça was spending money, right throughout the summer there when Barça were doing their transfer business, all of the English media, they kept banging on about, oh, Barça will be investigated. Barça won't be allowed to continue like this. They're breaking rules. How are they getting away with this? And I would just like to be very, very clear, because today UEFA have released a list of 8 clubs who did not comply with the regulations, who have broken rules, and Barcelona is not on that list. We are a club there who have not broken a single rule. We are deemed by UEFA to be in perfect financial condition. So all I will say is, over to you now. What you got to say about this, Gary Neville? But if we do indeed move on to the starting lineup, or possible starting lineup, looking at tomorrow's game against Sevilla, because obviously you've got Bellerin and Marcos Alonso arriving now at the end of the transfer window. Probably they've come in a little bit too late, a little bit too close to this game. I think it's highly unlikely that we see either of those players there in the starting lineup and involved in tomorrow's game. But these are the players that I think will be. Ter Stegen, of course, is going to be continuing in goal. Spoken about him a lot since the start of the season, and let's hope that he continues this encouraging form that he's been showing. Likewise, exactly the same at left back for Alejandro Balde. I do believe that, again, he will start in this game. Xavi has been so impressed with him, and if he does start here, that will be his 3rd successive start in La Liga, and that will be a real statement once again from Xavi in a big game, and I do hope we see Balde. At right back then, obviously we do have now some options in that area. It's going to be very interesting to see what Xavi does in this position. Xavi said before in his press conference that he already knows who's going to play there, and I feel again like we might see Jules Kounde in that position. We saw it against Valladolid. He did move over later in the game to centre-back, and I think he are playing against his former club. He did play quite frequently at right-back for Sevilla, and I do think we'll see him in that area again, which means at centre-back we can safely play Ronald Araujo in his natural favoured position there at the right side of centre defence. Now in that left centre-back role, I think it's so difficult. I think it really is, and it's between Eric Garcia or Christensen. And I would like to know who you would go with there, because honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Christensen. I would be happy for it to be, but I do think Eric Garcia, like we've spoken about throughout the week, he has been growing, and I think this is a game that would test him, that would actually show us, where he is, what he can handle, how much progression he has made, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him in a big game like this, starting alongside Araujo and helping us there, of course, in our build-up out of the back. Then we move into midfield, where Xavi does have an abundance of options. Even if he doesn't have Bernardo Silva, there is still plenty of quality to choose from in that Barcelona midfield. But I do have to say, guys, that throughout the season so far, personally, I just haven't been convinced in any given game about our midfield yet. I'm still looking for the combination that really works for us. I don't think we've quite seen it yet, where everything has just clicked and come together. So Xavi is still looking to find that perfect balance. In this game, for me, I would go with Sergio Busquets in that holding midfield role. Of course, I'd be starting with Pedri. He is one of the first names on the team sheet, and alongside him for this one, I would probably go with Frenkie de Jong. I think Busquets, Pedri, Frenkie, Sevilla away. I think that's probably the best combination. They're the best trio that we could go with for this one. And then up front, once again for Xavi, big decisions, big options available to him. but I would look to do something similar. Rafinha, for me, he was unbelievable. He was unplayable at times in that first half against Valladolid. He has to stay in the team. You can't take him out after that kind of performance. And then I'd look at Dembele on the other side. He has also come up clutch. Some big moments already this season. Big goal away at the Anoeta. He came up with assists again against Valladolid. You know what he can do, and he was brilliant last season at this very stadium. And Robert Lewandowski leading the line once again, of course, because what I would say about that front three is you could play them over and over and over again. You could play them game in, game out, but they always find a way to be unpredictable. The way that they interchange, especially they're looking at Dembele and Rafinha, even if it seems as though we're doing the same thing, they can add a different touch to that, and you never know where one of them is going to pop up at any given time, and that's got to be a nightmare for any defender, because Barca, of course, right now, still seem to be very cautious with Ansu Fati. I'd be surprised if he started in this game, but we have to keep bringing him on. We have to keep giving him minutes in games like this to build that strength, to build that muscle memory as he continues his recovery, and of course, all the players in the squad. If you're given an opportunity, if you're counted upon to come off the bench, you've got to make your mark. You have to stamp your authority on this team. The standard right now is very high. You've got to perform to stay in the lineup. And please do let me know that if you were Xavi, what would your team be looking like? And now I do have to say, guys, because of the sort of hectic nature of deadline day and because of all of those days leading up to it, I didn't actually get around to asking you what your predictions are for this game. I apologise for that. You know, I am interested. I always want to know what you guys think, but I didn't quite get that opportunity this week, so I'll just say this, and I'm sure that you will all join me when I say, let's just make it in this game 3 successive wins in La Liga. Let's make sure here that we don't have any more slip-ups, that we keep on this run, that we keep building that momentum, and we keep on going early in the season. Let's keep that excitement burning and hopefully continue to see plenty of goals coming from our forward players. Thank you today, guys, for joining me for all of the build-up for this game. Really excited for it and really hopeful that we can send out another message. Please do let me know how you would approach the game and what you're expecting from Barca versus Sevilla. I will see you after it for all of the reaction, of course. Thank you indeed for your support and for all of your comments. I will see you soon. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.